Hi, I'm Jordan Jones, and I'm going to be talking to you today about Evernote. But before I do that, I want to remind you that we have our 61st anniversary New Mexico Genealogical Society conference coming up at the end of August. For the modest price of $30 per person, you will get 14 lectures. Those will be available via streaming through September. There will be 2 live keynotes, which we'll record and put into the streaming system. And there will also be 6 recorded lectures with live Q&A, 6 video on demand lectures. All of that's going to stream through September. There's going to be door prizes and more. So if you go to nmgs.org/conference, you can learn more about that. At the conference, we will have the following speakers: Robert J.C. Baca, Henrietta Crispus, Jose Esquivel, Colleen Robledo Green, Debbie Girdler, and more. There's going to be me. And there's going to be Rob Martinez, Esteban Rael Galvez, Judy Russell, and Miguel Torres, who you all know. So we hope that you join us there. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about Evernote for genealogists. This is one of our monthly talks, and this will be the last one for a little bit because we're going to be preparing for the conference that I just talked to you about. I have been a user of Evernote since 2008, so my usage of Evernote is now a teenager. It's changed over the years. I haven't liked all the changes, just like with a teenager, but overall, I think they've made it a slimmer, more focused, and more powerful product. So when you go to their website, this is what you're presented with. They're all about productivity and getting what's on your mind into a note. The idea is that if you write your ideas down, you're not burning up your brain power struggling to remember them. And Evernote is functioning as your external brain. So it's keeping your notes for you to find later, and that's especially important for genealogists who have a lot of data to keep track of. So what is Evernote? It's a freemium note-taking organization and storage tool. By freemium, the folks in Silicon Valley mean that it has a useful free version, and then they have a premium version they'd like to sell you. So they're trying to entice you to buy the paid features. I'm going to occasionally in this talk mention the paid features, but keep in mind that most of what you can do with Evernote, you can do with the free version. The paid version gives you extra storage and a couple of other features, but almost everything that I'm going to show you is something that you can do in the free version. Evernote is a tool to organize, store, archive, and find your data. And it allows you to search for text, including handwriting, and it's kind of spotty there, but I've been surprised at how well it does sometimes in finding handwriting and images. You can search inside PDFs and inside Office documents. This is one of the paid features, unfortunately. And it does OCR of images inside PDFs. So even if the PDF was not typed, but was scanned, it will do OCR of that in the paid version. And it is the leading digital memory application. OneNote from Microsoft and Google Keep are competitors, but they're not the only ones. Evernote is actually the leader. So when you come to their site, they're going to show you the differences between different versions and have you ask this question of yourself, which Evernote is right for you. Some of the key things are with the free version, you can sync between 2 devices. So that could be your computer and your phone. That could be your phone and your tablet. And then if you get the paid version, you have unlimited devices. So you can have a computer, a phone, a tablet. But some of the key things are the same. You can tag and search for notes. You can format your notes. You can clip web pages. Those are all the same. One of the biggest differences is the limitation in size. So with the free version, you can create notes only up to 25 megabytes. That might be useful for most things that we're doing. And the bigger limitation is that you can only create 60 megabytes of notes in a month. And you could easily run that up. One of the things you can do, though, is you could buy the premium version for 1 month, upload up to the limit of 200 megabytes there in that month, and then you can still use those files. The limitation is only on how much you can upload during a month, not how much you can store. The storage is unlimited once you get it into Evernote. So I want to go over some of the key features. So you're going to be capturing everything. These are text notes, web pages, audio, photos, any kind of digital file. You're going to keep everything in sync. So notes, web clips, files, images, everything if you look at it on your phone and you look at it on your computer, you see the same files. And that's 2 devices for free and unlimited for paid. You'll be using it for research, collecting information from anywhere into a single place. It's always at your fingertips. And because you can find things, you can remember everything. So the main way that you access your content is either with search or navigation. And I'll be talking quite a bit of detail about both of those. In the free version, you can do search for any text. That text can be in the note itself, it can be in images, it can be in tags, titles, or notebook names. The paid search gives you, as I mentioned, the ability to search within documents, within PDFs, within Microsoft Office documents. So let's get started and create an account and install Evernote. So you go up to their webpage and it tells you that you can accomplish more with better notes, their marketing stuff, but you click sign up for free, and then you get this pop-up. You provide an email address and a password, and you create an account. Then they're going to pop over and give you something to download for your desktop. And so it will know that you're on a Mac or a PC, and it will choose the right one. And then you can download and have the desktop application. You can also at any time go to evernote.com/download and download those. On mobile, you'll have a standard installation, just like any application in the App Store or Google Play. Just search for Evernote and you'll find it. So you've got the desktop and you've got the mobile version. You might also want web clippers. These you install into your browser, and they become a little button on your browser that you can click and capture things from the web as you're surfing the web. So it's very powerful, and I recommend you do this. You go to evernote.com/webclipper, and you can download these, and they work for all the major browsers. And they'll tell you how to do that when you get to that page. So here's an example of the page. And once I've installed it, when I'm on a web page, like in this case, Find a Grave, and I click to save it, I have various choices. I can do the article, a simplified article, the full page, bookmark, screenshot, and so forth. I can then organize it into a notebook. I can add tags, and then I say save, and I end up with something like this. Here's my web clip note that you just saw me taking. It has a link back to the note, and it has pretty much the web view that you saw. So that's all kind of getting started, getting things installed, using the web clipper in general. And I want to say, why should genealogists use Evernote? And I have some concepts and strategies for what I call digital memory. So you should use it to create your research plans. So you can gather together all the research you're thinking of doing. You can use Evernote tagging to say, this is for this repository and that repository, and this is what I'm going to do when I go to that cemetery, and so forth. You can use it to create research logs where you say, I did that research, and here's a high-level view of what I found. You can use it to gather and catalog digital assets. And that's probably what most people think of it for, that you can take all the images that you've gathered of census records and birth records and so forth and have them in one place. But you can also use it to write various notes, draft proof summaries, family narratives, and you can use it to store more formal documents. Maybe you take your notes and you're going to write an article and you're using Word. Maybe you're using Excel to gather together a bunch of different disparate data to see it in a tabular format. Maybe you're using PowerPoint. Any of those kinds of files can also be brought into Evernote, and you'll have them in one place. And finally, you can use it to share the results of your research. People think of Dropbox as a place where a lot of genealogists share results and share information. You can also do that from Evernote. Any note, any notebook, you can share with other people, with your family members, with other researchers that you're working with and so forth. So I want to take you through a little bit of the user interface for Evernote because it's kind of complicated, but when you break it down, you can see what everything's for and you can see how you use it. So on the web, you have something where you see that you have a new note button. You have shortcuts, you have all notes, notebooks, and tags. And again, notebooks and tags are the main ways that you organize your notes. The shortcuts are searches and other links that you have found as you go through Evernote, as you use Evernote, and you wanted to keep and you put them in your shortcuts. When you're on the desktop version, you have a little bit different view, and I've highlighted in red the things that are different. So you have a new button that says new instead of note, and you have a home button because there's kind of a home view on the desktop app, and you have a tasks link that is also new. I think tasks will probably come to the web at some point. It's a very new feature. As you see, they've marked it as early access, and so that's kind of an alpha or beta version of it. If you click on new, you get this pop-up that tells you or allows you to choose between note and task. Do just an attachment where you're not going to write anything, but you're just going to attach a file. And also you can do a sketch, which can involve a mouse or any kind of pointing device. You could sketch things. So when you get to the desktop interface in the paid version, you can customize where things appear here, and you can customize the image. I put an image of the map of the Native American reservations in New Mexico on mine, but you can have anything there if you have the paid version. If you have the free version, they have some standard things that they put there that are nice photographs of flowers and so forth. And then you have notes, you have scratch pad where you don't even have to think, am I going to put this into a note? Maybe I just need to get something quickly that I'm not going to store. And then you can pin notes and have them show up here. And then you also have a list of recently modified notes. And then again, you have the buttons I showed you before for home, shortcuts, and so forth are all along the left-hand side. So if we go to look further at the view and kind of go into search results, if I search for Thomas David Vai, who's one of the individuals that I research, you'll see these are the ones that have his name as a tag. And so I've created a tag for that individual. And I've got all the notes in which he is referenced in some way. This is a view of the notes that is organized around that search, but also I'm viewing them in a list view. There are other views that you can have, and I'll show you some of those. So the first item here that's my search. It's kind of reminding me what I searched for. Tag, which is that little icon right here. It's a tag, and then that name. And then, the second item is ways to change my view. So I can change the sort, I can change the filter, and I can change the view and look at card view, which I'll show you in a second. And then you can save the search. So if I like that search and I want to use it again, I can click this button, Save Search, and then I can use it some other time. And then the last item here is just the list of items in my search results. Here's the card view I was talking about. So if you click that thing at the top and choose card view, you'll see your notes instead of in a list, they'll be in cards like this. Images will often show up. This one is for some reason not displaying, but you'll see on the right-hand side also the detailed note and more details of that note. If we delve into what a note looks like and what the parts of the note are, we'll see that a note is organized into a notebook. And so the list of the notebook is here. So this one is Gen-Census. You have a toolbar that allows you to do all of your normal editing functions and bolding and highlighting and so forth, including this insert button, which allows you to insert files and attachments and images and so forth. You've got the title. So you type the title here, and if you open up the note on its own, the title also appears at the top. And then you have images. This image is viewed as an attachment. I'll show you in a little bit how to change the view of an image and show it as inline so you can actually read the image. And then on the bottom, you have tags: record type, location, individual, surname are the ones that I use. I kind of create ones for each of those. And then whenever I want to search for a certain kind of record, a certain location, a certain individual or surname, I can use those tags to find those. So really what you're doing with Evernote is organizing the things that you've found, the work that you've done, the plans that you've made in order to be able to search for them. And the main organization methods are tags and notebooks. So a notebook is like a folder on your computer. You put things in it. A note can only be in one notebook. So you can't have a note in more than one notebook. However, tags, they can be applied to each note, and a note can have many tags. And so the way I usually do it is I think of putting my files into a notebook for, let's say, all the census records, and then I tag them for all the people in the census record and for the location and things like that. And then by doing that in a kind of organized and predictable way, then when I want to research it or search into my Evernote, I can find them using that. So I said a second ago that I was going to show you how to change an attachment to be in an image view. If you go to that attachment and you do a right click, you'll see this menu, and instead of having attachment, which is already checked, you click on image, and then you'll get a view like that. So let's talk a little bit about organization methods. Some people who use Evernote are tag oriented, and so they use notebooks, but only a little bit, and they're mainly focused on tags. Some people are notebook oriented. They use tags maybe a little bit, but not a lot. Some people only use tags and never use notebooks, and so they're in the main notebook and they never change it. Some people use only tags and only notebooks. Just depends. And the most disorganized I've seen, and I'm being judgmental here, but anyway, the most disorganized is when somebody has only one notebook and uses no tags, and they're trusting on their ability to write something inside the note that they're going to find. And I find it much more searchable if I do what I do, which is a tag-oriented method. I use both tags and notebooks, but I'm really heavily oriented towards tags. So I create notebooks by record type, and then I have tags for record type, surname, individual name, location, which might be a nation, a state, a county. And I often will have something that has the state and also lists the county, because sometimes I'm focused on the county and sometimes I'm stepping back and looking at the state level. You'll note that I have record type in both. That can be a little bit redundant, but it does help me when I'm searching, because sometimes I'm searching just for tags and I don't want to focus on the record type. And some of my tags for record type are more specific than the ones for the notebooks. So notebooks can be organized in stacks. There's a top level notebook, and that can contain many other notebooks. But the notebooks can only be nested 2 deep. So you've got a parent and a child, that's it. An account can contain 250 notebooks in the free version and 1,000 in the paid version. I will say that I've never run up against that limitation. I've never had nearly 250 notebooks. So if somebody was doing a notebook-oriented version, or way of organizing, they might run into that problem. But the way I use it, I don't run into that limitation, so it's not really an issue for me whether it's free or paid. So this is kind of an eye chart of the notebook view. If we look at it, we see that you have a top-level notebook. This one is called Genealogy-Personal. And then you have secondary notebooks. All of these are secondary notebooks that are children of this parent notebook, Genealogy Personal. And then next to it, you have the number of notes. So if we zoom in, you see I have Genealogy-Personal, and then I have 0- research plans, 1- research log, 2- notes, and so forth. Those are set up to kind of be organized at the top. And then I have my other items up below that. Next to them are the numbers of notes that are included in each. So a couple things you can do with notebooks. You can share them, and that's available in the free version. And you can have them offline where let's say you're going to be someplace where you're not going to have internet available, and you're going to be maybe in a cemetery or something like that. And then you can have them on your phone, even though you're not connected to the internet, and still be able to get to them. And that requires the paid version. It's one of the things they're trying to entice you to buy the paid version with. So let's talk a little bit about tags. Tags are an external organizing principle. They're applied outside the file, outside the note, and they allow you to search for things directly or indirectly. So if I search for tag : Jones, I'll find all the notes that are tagged Jones. If I search for the word Jones, it finds all the notes that have the text Jones anywhere, whether inside the note, in an image, anywhere. And the tag is something where I'm saying, I want to think of this as relating to that, no matter what the text is inside. Might not even have that text inside. So you can search for text anywhere in the note, but tags provide a more exact search. There's no reason, as far as I'm concerned, not to use a lot of tags. I use tons of tags. I have literally hundreds or thousands of tags. And then you can search for any tag using the syntax tag : tag name. You'll need to use quotation marks if your tag name has spaces in it. But other than that, that's the format: tag : and then the name of the tag. Tags can also be organized into hierarchies, but they can have deeper hierarchies. So they can have grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Tag hierarchies do not auto-tag notes. So when you put something into a hierarchy, it doesn't tag it with all the things in the hierarchy. It just tags it with the one thing you put on it. So here's an example tag hierarchy. I have genealogy. All of my genealogy notes I tag as genealogy, so I can easily make sure that I'm looking at a genealogy note and not a bill or something like that. And then under genealogy, I have a lot of them, but one example is surname, and then I have all the various surnames. In terms of tagging, if I put something against a surname, it doesn't automatically tag it with a surname tag, and it doesn't automatically tag it with the genealogy name or genealogy tag. So because I want them to have a particular surname, let's say Vi, I'll tag it with Vi, but I also want to make sure that I know it's a genealogy note. I'll tag it with genealogy, but I don't tag anything with surname because that doesn't really add anything for me. So when we look at the tag organizer, we'll see that I've got tags like genealogy, and then I've got all the tags underneath it. And you'll see little flippy arrows. There's more detail underneath each of those. So let's go into it a little bit more. So in terms of record types, I said I had record types tags. So I've got record types: cemetery, court, criminal, DNA, and immigration are all in here. And there's many more, as you can see. I have surname tags. So here we've got Adkins, Alm, Arnold, Atkins. And I can easily say tag : Adkins and find all the Adkins items. I also do tags for individuals. So I've got under genealogy, I have individuals, and then you might not be able to see it, but if you look closely, there's a 0 there. I have no tags that say individuals. I just tag people with files with the people that I'm talking about, those individuals. So Albert Hinman, Alfred Leslie Hill, and so forth. This is a list of some of those, and it goes way down and off this page because there's a lot. And this helps me find all the research that I'm doing on any individual, like Alice Golden Scott, for example. Then for the case of locales, I organize the locales in a hierarchy based on that locale. So I don't have a USA one, I just do the states, but I have Alabama, Arizona, and then I have something for Maricopa County, Arizona. I have something tagged that way. If I know the county, I'll often tag the county and the state, and so that note would have both of those tags. Depending on what I'm looking at a particular time, I want to make sure that I find it. I have country tags like Bosnia-Herzegovina, and then you see, again, here's a state, and then the counties in the state. So the whole point of all that tagging and of taking the time to do that tagging is that it facilitates your search. So I want to give you some pointers on search, and you'll be able to get to what you put in to Evernote. So if you use Command F or Control F, depending on your operating system, you can search within the current note. That should work like search works on your machine for any application. They have another one, which on the Mac you use Control Q, and on the PC you use Command J. And you, I got that backwards. Control Q for the PC, Command J for the Mac, and that allows you to jump to a notebook tag or note. And I'll show you an example of that. And then you can use Control Command E on the Mac and Win Shift F on the PC, and that will open up a search bar for Evernote even when Evernote is minimized. It could be down in your tray, you're not actually looking at it, but you think, oh, I want to search for something in Evernote. You type those keys and you'll get a search that will take you directly into Evernote. So here's the jump command. And so Command J on the Mac or Control Q on Windows, when Evernote is running, will give you this, and you can see that you can, if I type in Helen, it's suggesting a full name. It shows a tag with that full name. It shows a bunch of notes that have Helen in the title. And then it's suggesting another tag, Helen Edwin Arnold, ironically her grandmother. And then it allows me to search for Helen in notes. So now it's just I'm gonna search for that word all the way through the notes if I click that. So this is a quick way to jump from one part of Evernote to another, and doesn't require you to use a mouse. It can be entirely keyboard oriented. So one of the things that you want to be able to do is very detailed searching, and Evernote has a syntax that kind of guides you to do that. So mainly you've got a keyword like tag, in title, notebook, and resource. Those are the main ones. And then you follow that with a colon and then a search term. So tag BMD means I'm going to search for all the notes that are tagged BMD for birth, marriage, death. I can look in any title. So if I know that my titles have surnames first, and I know that I've got some notes about Nels Alm, then I can type in title, colon, and then I've got quotation marks here because there's a space, Alm, comma, Nels, and it's going to find all those notes. I can search for notebooks with the notebook name. You have to start all these with the correct characters. You can't, I couldn't find this by searching for notebook census. I have to search for gen-census and the spaces. And that's kind of a limitation, I suppose. And then you can search for resources, kinds of attachments that are in your notes. So for example, I can search for resource colon image / PNG, and that will find all of my portable network graphic images, all my PNG images. I've got a long list of these kinds of syntax rules, which are going to be in the handout, and those will be available to you. So don't worry about gathering those right now. And then you can also use some operators on your syntax. So you can use the minus sign to say not this. So minus tag colon census excludes notes with the tag census. You can also use an asterisk. So you can say in title colon John asterisk, and that will find notes with John, Jones, Jonathan, and that's very helpful for searching for variant spellings. But it is a little bit limited because you can't put the asterisk anywhere. You have to have at least 3 characters at the beginning, and then you can put the asterisk. So there's a little bit of limitation there. I showed you a second ago how to get a PNG image, but maybe you don't care what the format of the image is. Maybe it might be a JPEG, it might be a GIF, might be a PNG. You just know you want an image. You can use the asterisk here too. Resource colon image / star will find notes with image files attached. So you can then use these search terms together. And so if I was going to search for Vi, which is one of my surnames, I could say in title, it has the surname Vi, or in title, it has the characters VIA. But I don't want to look at census records right now, so I'm going to say minus tag colon census, And this will give me everything that has VI in the title, but that's not a census record. It has not been tagged as a census record. So I want to put all this together into a workflow for research. This is how I do my research in Evernote, and the way you do it might be different. You have to do what works for you, but this is a sample that maybe will help you think about how you would do it. So first I create a research plan, and what I'm doing is I'm creating a note in a notebook called 0-research plans, and I tag that note with things about the repository. Maybe I'm going to look at the family history library. I might say at family history library as a tag, and that will help me find all the things for the family history library when I get up there, which I know I will do someday again. And then I put everything that will help me find it. I put the call letters, I put the film numbers, anything that might help me find what I'm going to be looking for into that research plan. When I'm doing my research, I update that research plan. Now, I typically just take my research plan note and make it a research log note. But you could, if you wanted to keep a separation between your plan and your log, you could keep your plan note, you could copy it and take your new note and make that your log, change things that describe what happened when you tried to do that research. And that might be a way to do it. Then I create record notes. So let's say I find a new record in my research. I want to have that record in Evernote and I want to be able to get to it. So I create a record note. I put the image, let's say, into that record note. I then cite it immediately so that I have that citation available to me. And I'll show you an example. So I was looking for a birth certificate for BRCA leakage. And I knew that based on my research on the web, that this might be on some film at the Family History Library. So I gathered together all the information about the film. It's going to be in this suite of films. And I put this into my research plans. And then when I went to do my research, I had written find BRCA in California birth record, and I'd written all of this information about where I would look. I went and I did that research, and I noted researched on 2nd February 2012 at the Family History Library. I checked the box that I had put up there, so it's completed. I say result success, and then I put a link to my my note for my actual image. So here I have my source list entry, my full reference note, short reference note, a link back to my research log. It had been a research plan, and now it's a research log. And then I've got my TIFFs attached. You'll see these caution symbols, and that's because TIFF images that's actually a format that Evernote does not display. So you can't see them in Evernote, you have to open them up. And then of course I've tagged it at Family History Library. That's where I found this item. It's a BMD item. It's a birth record. It's from California. It's from Fresno County, California. It's a genealogy note, and it's about the surname leakage. I could put BRCA leakage as a tag, but I'm not doing a lot of research into BRCA, so I don't have a lot of notes to find her in. So as I just showed you, I'm tagging those record notes when I create them. I'm putting the surname, I'm putting individual names sometimes, historical locations, record types, and so forth. Now, I also want to be titling those record notes in a way that's going to help me find them. So I tend to title things, and again, this is my method. You might do it differently. I tend to title things with the date first, then the person, then the record type, then the place, then the identifier, if there's any identifier. So an example is 1968, February 5th. So I put the year, hyphen, and then the month, and then the day, and that sorts them when I have them in a textual sort in a list of notes. I can see all of them in order of date. Then I have the surname, comma, and given name, and then I have the record type, place, and then the identifier. So that's for Mary Jane Hill's death certificate. And if I go to that actual note, you'll see that that's the title that I have. And I've got my citations, and I've got a PDF of that record that you can view right in Evernote. And then I've got it tagged with the kinds of tags that you would expect. Now I've got, because she has a birth name and a married name, I have Hill and Scott here, so that I have both. Even though I'm listing her under the name on the death certificate, it does refer to her father, and so it has the Scott surname as well. Then the last thing I do in this workflow is I file the research plan with a research log. So I've made those changes to the research plan, made it into a research log, talked about the results of that actual research, and I move it from the research plans notebook to the research log notebook. Now, when I open up that notebook for research plans, I don't see that anymore because I've done that research. It's not a plan. It's now a new log item. And of course, I do that even when I have negative research results, because I want to remind myself that I tried that and that record does not exist in that place. So one thing you can do with Evernote is template some of your work. And this is especially important for doing your source citations, because it's hard to remember exactly what you want to put in a citation. You don't want to have to look it up all the time and so forth. Evernote has not been great at creating templates. This is, I think, at least their second, maybe their third attempt at creating templates. In the last month or so, they've created a new way to do templates. And unfortunately, it requires a paid account. But I do have a workaround that I'll show you at the end of this. So in the paid version, when you create a new note, you have something that allows you to open the gallery or to add templates. And so if you click on Open Gallery, then you get into your gallery. Now, I've only started on this myself, so I've only got a couple. I've got one for creating a US Census record and one for creating a book that you found online. And once you click on one of those, then it creates a new note that has everything that's in your template. So what I'm doing is I'm putting in red the things I know I'm going to change, that each note has its own surname and given name, its own state, county, and so forth. And then I'm putting in blue things that might not apply, might have to be deleted, or it could be changed. So other schedules, I might change that. And then I'm putting in brown and purple the things that are kind of optional. So earlier censuses use a line number. Later censuses include family number and dwelling name. So I'm going to delete one and use the other, depending on when the census was taken. I'm going to add a website name, which is the title, so it's italicized. I'm going to have a URL that actually should be red right there. And when I accessed it, and so forth. So I can quickly fill this out. I don't have to go research what should I do to create this citation. I've got it in front of me. I got it from my template. And then once I pull in the template, I put my image there, and now I've filled out a template, and you can see it's got all the information that I would need. For illustration purposes, I left line number here struck through, but I'll be deleting that. And then you'll have a sense of everything in here. I'll also change it all to black once I'm done, and then I'll have full source citations of that research. So one of the pain points for me is the template doesn't come in with a title. And so it comes in with a blank title, and I have to manually create those titles. But to use standard titles, I put guidelines for the titles into the template. So if we look at one here, you'll see that although they leave the title blank, I've written my guideline for what I'm going to do with the title. This year should be red. So I'm going to change the year. I'm going to say US Census. I'm going to have surname, given name, and that's going to be my title. I'm going to take that, put it into this title space, delete it from here, and then I'll just have my source list and so forth, and I'll have a title name that's similar to all the other ones, which helps me filter. It helps me see them together when I'm looking at a list and so forth. So that's all the paid version. I have a workaround for the free version, and this is something I've been doing for years. So I create templates for vital records, census records, and other types of records, and I put them in a templates folder. And then I use the context menu, so the right-click menu, and in using that, I can copy it to a notebook. So I take my template, which is actually just a regular note, and I copy that note into another notebook, and now I can use it in that notebook, and I can customize it. So here's an example of that. I've got this template for vital records. I click on it with a right-click, and I can choose copy to notebook, and it's going to copy one of these to my BMD notebook, and now I'm going to be able to edit that, and it'll come in looking like this. It actually has a title, although I'm going to change that, but I'm going to delete all this part and just say year, surname, given name. I might leave out the BMD part. That's mainly to help me find it as a template. And a little bit closer view. So I've gone through this blisteringly fast. There's a lot of features in Evernote. I've left out huge swaths of things because there wasn't time to talk about everything. But if you go to help.evernote.com, you'll find a lot of materials they have. They also have a YouTube channel that has some demonstrations of how to do things in Evernote. And so I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope that if you are an Evernote user, or if you're thinking about using Evernote, this will help you think about how you do it in a way that's going to work for you. As I've said before, my methods are my methods. They may or may not work for you. You need to do what works for you, but some of these tools may be part of what you do. So I want to thank you for your time. And I also want to remind you about what's coming up, which is the NMGS conference. So that conference is, again, the 27th and 28th of August. Costs $30 per person, and for that you get 14 lectures. There's more information on nmgs.org/conference. And we've got 10 amazing speakers, well, 9 amazing speakers plus me. In the context of that, we're going to have at the beginning of each day a keynote. The Friday keynote speaker will be Esteban Real Galvez, and the Saturday keynote speaker will be Judy Russell. So we hope that you'll come to the conference, and you can find more information at nmgs.org/conference. Thank you.